This is Kevinalan right here on the Be Better podcast, coming to you on the PrayedUPnetwork. I hope you're doing well today. This is Friday, the day before June 1st. That is right. I can't believe how fast this month is going by. It seems like it's, in fact, the entire year, right? It seems like the entire year is just flying right by, and here we are going into June, and before June, June will be over, and next thing you know, you'll be in July 4th, and heck, you'll be getting ready for school. I know the kids, I know the teachers out there don't want to hear this conversation. They're just excited about getting out of school soon, and I'm excited too to see it, because one of the things about summer that I love the most, especially in my memories, and I'm sure you do, is about those happy things, those happy days. And this is the question I want to talk about today. Oh, I forgot again. Hi, my name is Kevin, and I am an alcoholic. And welcome to the Be Better podcast. Happy. How do you stay happy? How do you stay happy in a time and place in our history of this country? And I don't know what it was like in 1930. I don't know what it was like in 1800s. I don't know what it was like when Jesus Christ himself was walking. I know we can be taught or talk about it, and I guess have some thoughts or at least some ideas about how things were. But how do you, in this crazy time that we live in, and I mean the economy, we just came off a crazy lockdown over several years, a debate over political divided countries, um, wars that are going on, sickness it seems to be running wild, especially with addiction and those people that are battling and dealing with mental health. So there's so much on the plate. I'm just wondering, like, what do you do to stay happy? Because I will tell you that I fought and battled back from a very, very sad place for a very long time, and it was not easy to do. It was actually hard to do. It was not easy. It was actually so incredibly difficult that I thought at times I was done. I was going to give up. But the grace of God, I was introduced to real love, true love. And that true love was the one thing that I never really understood in my life, was that the love of myself and others, and not control love, not that love that you need to have to take somebody, out of, take control of somebody else that's in a relationship with you. And that could be business or personal or whatever, parents and children, and relationships and husbands and wives, and however siblings, it doesn't matter, or business partners. Sometimes we see in these relationships that people try to just overwhelm the other partner. Oh, I love you, I love you. I use these tactics. I would say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and not really understand what the word love meant. And so I'm going to combine love to happiness. Because let's face it, I mean, love sometimes comes in a very ugly way. Sometimes love can hurt the worst. But if you can find that happiness in the world that we live in, and in this now moment, this day that we live in today, right here, in this very moment, if you can find happiness today, you will be happy tomorrow, because what you have to do is just keep building that memory of happy thoughts and positive energy. And I will tell you that over the last, since October of 2023, when I was at the last step before giving up, just giving up completely. Depression had taken me over. I had no control of my emotions, and I was dealing with some things in my personal life that I had never, ever intended on dealing with. I'd been alcohol free for over a year, but still the alcohol had some controls. And so I couldn't find that happiness, right? I couldn't find that happiness. And I lost happiness well before this occurred in October. I lost happiness way, way back, probably back in 2000. Probably when I retired from the Department of Corrections. And I just posted today, it's been 12 years since I've been retired from the Department of Corrections in the state of Connecticut. And 12 years ago, when I walked out on that in June from the gates of York Correctional Institution in Niantic, Connecticut, I really didn't look back on my corrections, and thought, too many positive things. But now that I look back, I really enjoyed the time that I spent as a correctional officer in the camaraderie of my fellow staff. The battles we went through and waged on, with the craziness that takes place in a prison. So I guess maybe what I'm trying to get to is I was preoccupied for the majority of the beginning of my life by all the things I was doing. I was raising my children. I was then married and had a great marriage, and I had true love in my heart for my then wife, and I still love her so much, and she's just an amazing person. I'm so proud of her. And I just hadn't dealt with all those things yet that I had from even before we got married, before I even childhood issues, right? Childhood issues, and it's taken up till 54 years of my life to work with some amazing people, spiritual leaders, uh, professionals in therapeutic ways, counselors, to understand true love. Because I was fighting true love for the longest time, and I want to get to this because it gets to the happy. It gets to the happy. It's where you find your happiness. And where do you think you can find happiness, folks? You can find happiness right inside yourself. You don't have to go looking for happiness. You don't have to go searching for some kind of excuse to be happy. You can be happy if you can just look inside your heart and figure out what it is that you've been dealing with that has taken that away from you. For me, what it was more about my addictions. You see, once I got my addictions out of the way, once I was able to take alcohol addiction, my addiction to, well, you name it, actually, I say it all the time. I'm addicted to everything pretty much, with the exception of, uh, you know, a few things, but addiction to fast money, success, notoriety. I was addicted to having people, know who I was, and all these things were going through me at a time when I was transitioning in my own personal life that I had not dealt with those things that were obstructing me from true happiness. And I had the greatest, happiest time in my life that I will always understand and believe was the most important part of my life was raising my children. And talk about June and school ending and all the things that are going on. And so with kids going, getting out of school, it just reminds me of all those amazing memories, the vacations we went on, the times we would, go different places with the kids and just really, really enjoy that. And those were happy moments. And then when it became individually, me kind of on my own, and of course, getting into politics and some of the business ventures we got into and all the crazy that took place over the last 5 to 6 years, it's been a very difficult process for me personally. And I know somebody out there is struggling. I know somebody right now is struggling with alcohol or maybe drugs or with pornography, or maybe they're struggling with their money issues. If they're struggling, mental health is one of the greatest issues in this country undealt with. But I think that everyone can share and really understand happiness is one of those. If we could bottle up happiness, I just said this the other day on one of my posts I did. If we could bottle up happiness and just give it to people when they need it, I'd love to do that. I'd love to keep people all happy. You see, because this negative world that we live in, if you just turn it on for 1 minute, folks, it will tear you down. When I started in podcasting, I was talking about news all the time then. And I'm not avoiding news. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to not have an opinion. I do have an opinion. In fact, I drafted a letter last night in response to what's going on in this country. And at the advice of some very important people, management in my life, I'm advised not to get involved in that stuff. And they're right, because I've gone down that road. I have an opinion, and I am going to be talking about certain things, especially they'll be probably touching on to some political issues. But what took place yesterday in our country, if you jump on that, if you jump on this the wrong way, if you bite on this the wrong way, folks, you're going to start feeling that energy again that you did back, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, and then 4 years before that. And I've been a part of that energy drive for so long that once it got out of my system, once I was able to battle and fight back from alcoholism, once I was able to achieve these things, and then once I was able to open up my heart after actually experiencing some pretty devastating, heartbreaking changes in my life, I was able to find happiness. And I will say that happiness is not something that I have had a lot of in my life, with the exception of my marriage and raising the kids. Um, Not a lot of happiness in my childhood. Not a lot of happiness in my adult life in my last, you know, 7, 8 years, 9 years of my life, battling so many different things, and to finally achieve that, to finally feel what I guess everybody who walks around with a smile on their face feels is amazing. So I just want to come on here today. It's a Friday, right? And this is the Be Better podcast, right? And we are sponsored by CashMap LLC. Please scroll on down. Make sure you go over to CashMap LLC. Check them out today. Dennis Williams, of course, the founder, he comes on here with the Be Better podcast and the Prayed Up Network. And make sure you go and check them out because we're going to be doing some special stuff with them and some other really cool sponsors moving forward into the summer. Big announcements coming. Yes, keeping the happy thoughts and spreading the happiness around this great country, right? Going to start talking in different places. We'll be down in Columbia, South Carolina very soon. I think within the next 2 weeks. We got a bunch of interviews to do between Columbia and Atlanta, and possibly out in LA. Got some stuff going on out there. So happiness. How do you get it? How do you get your happiness? Please, can you just drop a comment right now for me? Put a comment in here. How do you find happiness in your life? Is it, and how do you stay happy? Right? I want to know from the people out there. Tell me and share your story because I want to be able to have something to share with other people. And I know what I've been doing, and maybe what I've been doing is working for me, but it may not work for someone else. So maybe your story, maybe the reason that you have in your life, that thing that you fight for, that is it your family, is it your job, is it your I don't know, saving money for retirement. I don't know what makes you happy, but I truly would rather be happy than living the way that I did for so long in that sad state of mind. And I will tell you that I understand it now. I understand it now, but I want to speak to someone out there that might be struggling with finding happiness. Um, I'm you. I battle back from the alcohol, as I said earlier, and I think that when you look at your life, what you need to do is you need to take a deep breath and realize, you know what, all the people in your life, uh, they're living their own battles. I lived for so long thinking that my battle was shared with everyone around me. In fact, my past relationship was one that I've talked about often here, and most of you have been following us or following this platform and the evolution from News Rocky all the way back. And I was just talking about this recently, all the way up to the Kevinalan show or whatever you want to call it, and then eventually the Prayed Up Network and the Be Better podcast. And why did I go with Be Better podcast and not keep Kevinalan? Well, because you know what, the Kevinalan show had its life. And its life ended when my partnership ended, and it was time to move on. And that was a devastating move for us, or at least for me in my life. And I didn't know how to figure that out. And once I was able to figure it out, happiness started creeping into my life. I'm in my little studio apartment here. Okay, let me just tell you this. Okay, maybe I should do this. Let me see if I can get another camera on here because I think if you could see where I'm at, that might be a little helpful for you. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to get another camera on right here. There you go. All right, there's my camera. All right. So this is our little home studio. Okay, this is where I live. This is my studio now. Okay, my little bit of equipment we have. Of course, my solo cup. You see, this is a place right here, that makes me happy. I love talking on this thing. I love talking on this thing right here. And I don't know why, for what reason. I guess I do know why. I was just actually, I shouldn't say I don't know why. I was just sharing this a couple days ago. And I think it was pretty impactful. And so impactful that the folks that I was sharing it with have reached back to me since and really, got the moral of the story. So when I was a child, I used to listen to the radio every night. I couldn't sleep. I have always had this real problem sleeping. I was probably, looking back, probably a very scared child. And so the radio became my friend, my best friend. And so I found happiness in listening to Richard Bohannon Larry King, right? These these amazing, talented people who got on the national radio and talked. And I used to say, I can't wait to grow up because someday I want to be on the radio. I want to be a radio voice. I want to be a radio guy. And I don't know if I have a radio voice or, if I'm fluent, if I flow enough. I don't really know, but I do know I can carry a conversation on pretty well. But it's happiness. Like I knew when I was a child, I wanted to do that. And because of that, when this podcasting world came into my life, it opened up a whole new opportunity for us. And it was almost like podcasting was that opportunity for me to get into a radio station. I was just talking to my good friend Lee Elsey, and I love Lee so much. And Lee gave me a chance. Lee Elsey, 94.9 for those people outside of the state of Connecticut. Look up Lee Elsey, 94.9. Listen to him every day. He's a great guy. He's a great man. He's a good friend, and I love him. He gave me a chance to get on his microphone and talk, and that made me happy. It made me happy. So, I'm thinking like maybe happiness doesn't always have to come from a pile of cash. Maybe it doesn't have to come from driving around in the fanciest car. Maybe happiness isn't living in the biggest or the nicest house in the street. If you can find just simple happiness, those simple little things that make you happy, like maybe a a walk at the end of the night as the moon sets, or maybe taking a look at the sky at night and seeing the stars or the moon. And I do want to say one of the things that I experienced over the last 5 years, it was right when I was on the farm. If many of you might know, maybe not, but I actually had a project that I was a partner in, and it was called Field of Tranquility. We grew 40 acres of CBD hemp. We had 80 something employees, 86 employees, I think. And I lived on the farm. And when I lived on that farm is when I had the experience with my last relationship. And it was the first time I ever in my life looked up at the sky and understood what I was looking at. Like it put instant happiness in me. And then I would walk, we would walk on the wet grass at night, or just enjoy the earth, right? Just that groundingness. And I never had that happiness. See, happiness doesn't come in a bank book, guys. I know we all think that, and I lived that way for the longest time. But I can promise you that if you're feeling a struggle right now and you're feeling you're feeling it hard to find happiness or peace in your life, what you need to do is look into those things in your life that maybe are challenging you, maybe the things in your life that are holding you back. Maybe there are people in your life, and maybe there's even you yourself is the major problem in your life. Maybe you yourself are and that's okay. That's okay. If you can figure it out and you can find happiness, that's okay. So I would recommend a couple things from me and my perspective. Turn off all that negative news. I'm not telling you to turn the news off. I'm not going to beat up on corporate media. I'm not going to tell you that media is the worst thing since sliced bread. We've gone through that before in this country, and you know what? It doesn't get you anywhere. It is time for us all to come together. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, independent, not voting. I don't care where you're from or who you are. It is time for people to seek something now. This is we're in a certain. And so I know a lot of my folks that listen who are Christians and proud Christians. We the season. This is a season right now in our country's history that is going to challenge people and put people in positions to make really tough decisions about their quality of life in a whole lot of ways. And I'm not certain that people are equipped to deal with the issues that are about to happen in this country. So as we approach summer and we talk a lot about, hey, this, I just mentioned it earlier, everyone's going to get ready for the summer. Where the kids are going out and going to enjoy the summer. Parents are going to be, hopefully taking vacations. We still have all that noise, and I think it was Kenny Chesney, "Noise," right? The song he wrote, and it's so true. When you stop and you can turn that noise off, you can turn off the negative energy that you're taking in every day. I was watching corporate media for a very long time, news specifically, and I did it obviously as a public servant. I was a municipal leader in a small town 2 terms, and then went on to the state house up in Connecticut and was planning on running for Congress, and being informed by the corporate media news was an important thing. And I'm not slamming corporate media news. I'm just telling you the news that I was watching was negative. And so I know somebody right now, this is resonating with you because you're hearing me, because within the last 24 to 48 hours, you have felt something in your heart. And what I'm trying to say today is don't let it happen. Don't let your heart be taken over by the negative. Don't let your heart find hate for someone that you think is the enemy, and the enemy is the exact person or thing that you need to love more. You need to love that enemy. I'm not saying bend down on knee to that enemy. I'm not saying walk away or turn over the keys to your house to an intruder. That's not what I'm saying. You defend yourself to the most legal and responsible way you can. And I'm not saying in just physical. I'm saying in general. Don't let anyone push you around. But even those people that are trying to push you around, you need to love them back. You see, when you can find true love for people, true love, it comes from a couple ways. And one way that it came from me was true forgiveness for myself. And when I had true forgiveness for myself, I was able to open up and find true love for other people. No, I don't want to own, no ownership. No, I'm going to control you. Nobody. I'm not trying to get back in good with somebody. No, I'm done with that. I don't have to worry about that anymore. First and foremost, I give all glory to my Lord and Savior. Jesus Christ was an example for every one of us to understand that in this beautiful world we live in, because it's a beautiful place. I came out with a negative comment, but this is a hopeful, happy, podcast here. That what I don't know, pop up, whatever. And this is about positive. How happy. Find happiness. There's so much negative, and in the country, like I said, we're going to feel even more negative energy going into the November election, going right into the holiday season. And it's for good reasons, because there's a lot of people right now in this world that are just down and out. They don't know how to get back from this negative that's been driving people into a rotten hole over the last several decades in this country. And I'm talking about America. I'm not talking about any other country. I'm not criticizing it. I'm talking about happiness in America, happiness with you, happiness with me. And I will say that society's changed. If we could go back to any generation, I'd go back to the 70s. I was born in 1969, and I will tell you some of the happiest times. And not that you'll not to have mixed messages here. There was a lot of sadness in the beginning of my life, and I talk about it publicly throughout my life. And there was also some amazing moments, and those moments are mostly around my interaction with my friends. Growing up, fishing on the Thames River, and running around in the summer and the winter. Running through the woods, and just having some simple life. It was simple and happy. I didn't know any different. I didn't know that every now and then the heat going off, or not having the best clothes, or all that stuff was negative. I did to some point when I grew up a little older, and understood probably high school level, but I didn't understand it when I was younger. I didn't understand it. We didn't have the things that other people had, so we I guess we found some happiness in what we had. But in today's world and society, everyone wants more, and it's because of exactly what you're listening to me on, this technology. Some point, we're going to have to realize that we can no longer continue to play by the same rules. You see, because if we play by the same rules, folks, eventually the devil's going to win. And the devil is moving fast on us right now in this country. The devil is moving fast on us in this country. I truly believe the battles that will be waged over the next few months are going to be ones that we've seen before in this country. And yet, we're going to be challenged to find that happiness in our own lives to move on. So, I come on tonight, tomorrow, today, tomorrow, yesterday, whenever I come on, I try to be a positive person. I try to give something that is going to give you an inspiration. I'm not a guru. I'm just a simple person just like you. I'm just a regular old guy who's been given many more chances than I deserve. And I've been given an opportunity to have a platform that, well, we're excited about where we are. We're excited about where we're going. We're excited about bringing you on the journey. And so what I want to say to you as we get ready to part ways here this Friday, day before June 1st, is please find happiness. Just find that happiness in your life today. Just find that happiness to whatever it is that can make you happy, and just find that happiness today that down deep in your heart, those things that are just irritating the living daylights out of you, put them on a shelf somewhere, walk away from them, say goodbye to them, and don't look back at them. Until you can control your own personal emotion, you can't look back at that. I did it. Believe me, I could have some witnesses come on here and tell you how much I couldn't let go of over the last 9 months. And I feel so bad that I was going through that. And not for me, for the people that how I was, the energy I was giving to them. And it took me some hard lessons to learn. And you can learn these lessons quicker than I can. So that's why I'm trying to share this with you. Don't waste no time, folks. Don't sit and stew in unhappiness. Don't be an angry person. It doesn't give you anything. It gives you nothing. It takes from you. So don't let the news, don't let the neighborhood problems, don't let the bills that are piling up. I'm not saying don't ignore any of these, to ignore any of these things. I'm saying pay attention to your life, but don't let them destroy you. You have to be better. You will be better. And I hope that you understand I'm coming here not to express myself today. I'm not perfect. I'm not the greatest example. But what I'm not is I'm not finished. And we're about to see things in this country happen that I'm totally prepared to help out people in any way, in any capacity that I can. And I don't care who you are out there. If you're struggling with something right now, all you got to do is DM me. I will respond back to you personally if I can. If not, Mark or somebody else will respond back to you. We do have resources on our team that we can refer you to. So if you have something that needs, a medical or some kind of, above my pay grade, I am not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a therapist. I'm none of those things. But I do know people. I know how to help people. And it seems like my phone is always ringing. It always has rang to try to help people find things that they're having solutions to those problems. And if you need help with that, you're not alone. You see, I was helping so many people for my entire life that I wasn't helping myself. So I want someone out there to hear me today. Please, please, please help yourself today. Help yourself today. Find that happiness in your heart. Find a reason to smile each and every day. Find a reason why you know that you're going to be that person in other people's lives that make them smile, right? There's nothing worse in my heart that kills me. It destroys me. And saying I am happy and complete, but one of the hardest things for me to deal with is for me to be hated by people that I care about. And I have that in my life. I have that in my life. And that hurts. It hurts a lot. But it's also something that I never earned. I have to deal with. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But you got to work through it. I thought for the longest time, if I could ever be happy again, I'd have to feel guilty. Because happiness must be something that, if you have people that you're hurt and they're unhappy, but that's not true. Happiness is free. And it's for everyone that wants it. All you have to do is want to be happy. And you will find it. Scroll down, DM us if you want any help finding resources. We are here for you. You are not alone. I am Kevinalan, and I am an alcoholic, and I am happy to be on this Prayed Up Network on the Be Better Podcast. Please look for new releases coming soon. Some pretty good interviews. And I promise you,